Amelia has long been accustomed to being overlooked in her family. In her parents' eyes, she was not an outstanding or proud daughter. That position had long belonged to her older sister, Lauren. Lauren is the radiant pride of the whole family, a shining star whose every achievement is endlessly praised by her parents. As a child, every time Lauren won an award, Amelia would have to stand next to her, smiling in silence, listening to her sister's endless praise. The feeling of being left behind, overshadowed, gradually became an indispensable part of her life. Her parents didn't mean to hurt her, but their indifference made Amelia feel like she was just a pale shadow in the family story. Amelia's parents never noticed a difference in the way they treated the two sisters. When Lauren succeeded, they held congratulatory parties, inviting friends and relatives to share in the joy. But when Amelia achieved anything, from getting good grades in school to receiving compliments from her teacher, all she received in return was a cursory nod and a brief compliment, as if it were something she had done. That's insignificant. This not only made her feel unappreciated, but also gave rise to a deep sadness in her, a feeling of abandonment that no one in her family understood. Amelia doesn't envy Lauren. Instead, she just wants to be recognized and loved fairly. But that hope fades more and more every time her parents forget important moments in her life, basking in Lauren's successes. Deep down, Amelia doesn't hate her family, but feeling ignored makes her feel like she doesn't belong. Those wounds, although not tangible, were still painful, gradually turning into the motivation for her to step out of Lauren's shadow and find her true value. In a family life full of injustice, Amelia is lucky to have Grandpa William, the only person who makes her feel fully recognized and loved. He didn't need great achievements to recognize her worth, and that made Amelia feel like she really mattered to someone. Long afternoons sitting on the old leather couch in his living room, sharing bites of his favorite chocolate chip cookies, or watching movies together over and over again. Roman holiday are moments Amelia cannot find anywhere else in the family. In Mr. Williams' world, she didn't need to be compared to Lauren. She just needs to be herself. Grandpa William is not only Amelia's spiritual refuge, but also a source of motivation that helps her believe in her own worth. He often said, "The best things don't always sparkle or attract attention. Sometimes the most precious things are the quiet, profound things." These words are not only a comfort, but also a guideline to help Amelia maintain faith in herself during the days of being ignored by her family. However, what makes the story so heartbreaking is that even though Grandfather loved Amelia so much, he still could not protect her from the hurt caused by her own family. This makes the audience angry at the injustice that Amelia has to endure. Why couldn't her parents see her worth like Mr. William did? And what will happen when she loses the greatest source of comfort in her life? Amelia needs to grasp the lesson from Grandpa William to redefine her self-worth instead of depending on recognition from her family. The audience can feel sympathy for her and understand that, in an American society where individual values are promoted, standing up to protect yourself is something worth encouraging. If you are Amelia, start building your life based on the values that Mr. William imparted. Don't hesitate to seek support from friends or advisors outside of your family to overcome the challenges on this journey. Amelia deserves a brilliant future, even if it is without the companionship of those who always look down on her. After her grandfather William passed away, Amelia inherited the house on Maple Street, a precious gift from the only grandfather who truly understood and loved her. For Amelia, it is not only a house, but also a place containing beautiful memories and valuable lessons that he taught her. But the joy was short-lived, as her parents and Lauren quickly turned the house into a tool to serve her sister's needs. Lauren and her husband, Benjamin, who received a huge inheritance from Mr. William, blatantly moved into the house that Amelia inherited for free. Not only did they not pay the rent, but they also replaced every trace of their grandfather in the house with the flashy and luxurious things they preferred. Amelia felt like she was being robbed of an important part of her life, but once again, her voice was drowned out by the excuses from her family. Families help each other, her mother said, as if that justified her having to sacrifice everything. Lauren always acts like living in a house for free is her natural right. In American culture, where independence and individual ownership are prized, this situation is not only unfair, but also infuriating. Amelia, a young girl learning to stand on her own 2 feet, is forced by her family to give up control of her own assets. It is easy to sympathize with Amelia when she cannot escape the control of those who only see her as a secondary option. This is when she needs to see clearly, continue to endure, or stand up to take back what belongs to her. Amelia needs to remind herself that she has the right to determine the future and legacy that Mr. William leaves behind. In American culture, where individuals are encouraged to protect their rights, the audience will support Amelia to strongly step out of the shadow of her family to build an independent life. Amelia was used to being overlooked, but when her family took advantage of her, the hurt became unbearable. After months of hard work, balancing classes and extra shifts, she proudly saved up $3,000 to go on a family trip to Hawaii. A trip she hopes is an opportunity to mend feelings and prove your worth. But that hope is dashed when Lauren announces that Amelia won't be going on the trip. Reason? The money Amelia contributed will be used to help Lauren and Benjamin cover remaining expenses, as their restaurant is struggling. Amelia tried to stay calm, but she was filled with frustration and anger. The feeling of betrayal from those closest to her not only hurt her, but also made her realize her true position in the family, an exploited resource, not a valued member. When her mother repeated the familiar saying, "Families help each other," Amelia felt nothing but bitterness. Why does help always come from her, while Lauren gets all the favors? In American culture, where individuals are encouraged to stand up for their rights, Amelia's family's actions are an unacceptable injustice. It is often said that family unity is a precious value, but when it is exploited, it becomes an excuse for selfishness. Amelia had accepted so much injustice, but this was the turning point. Faced with this blatant betrayal, she must make a choice: continue to remain silent to please her family, or courageously regain control of her life. Amelia needs to realize that in American society, where independence is honored, she has every right to set boundaries and refuse to be a victim of family selfishness. Being betrayed by her family on a trip to Hawaii was the final straw for Amelia. She sacrificed so much, from her inheritance to her personal freedom, just to please those who always underestimated her value. But this time, instead of quietly suffering like before, Amelia decided to regain control. In a bold move, she hired a moving service on Christmas Eve, packed up all of Lauren and Benjamin's belongings, and removed them from the house William had left her. After that, she changed all the locks, officially asserting her ownership. This is not only a practical action, but also a symbol of the struggle to protect oneself. In American culture, where independence and personal ownership are valued, Amelia's action is not only reasonable, but also deserves strong support. What she did was not revenge, but a clear statement that she would not let her family continue to take advantage of her. However, Amelia faces intense anger from her family. Lauren and her mother kept calling, leaving messages full of criticism and harsh words, accusing her of being selfish and ungrateful. But for the first time in her life, Amelia didn't feel the need to explain or apologize. She knows that, to regain her self-respect, she must be decisive with those who do not respect her. Amelia's action was an admirable turning point in her life. In a family where favoritism is ingrained, it is extremely difficult for her to stand up for her rights. Amelia needs our support to strengthen her belief that she did the right thing. She set the necessary boundaries to protect herself and her grandfather's precious legacy. Amelia shouldn't let criticism from her family hurt her. Instead, she should focus on building a future from what she has, renting out the house to create a steady source of income and continuing to complete her studies. This action not only helped her become financially independent, but also helped her maintain her self-esteem. In American culture, where self-control is considered the foundation for personal success, Amelia is on the right track. Continue to be consistent, Amelia, and you will find a community that truly appreciates your worth. After removing Lauren and Benjamin from her inherited house, Amelia felt as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. For the first time in her life, she was in control of her future, without worrying about her family's interference or judgment. Amelia quickly contacted a property management company, finding suitable tenants to help cover the costs of maintaining the house. With a stable rent, she could not only pay taxes and maintenance fees, but also start building a savings fund, something she had never dreamed of before. However, freedom does not come easily. The family kept calling and sending text messages with heavy criticism and blame, trying to make Amelia feel guilty for her actions. Her mother calls her selfish, while Lauren blames her for her failures in life. But this time, Amelia did not let those accusations shake her will. She understood that her family's resistance was just an attempt to hold on to the control they were accustomed to. In American culture, where individual values and independence are celebrated, Amelia's story is a testament to the power of setting healthy boundaries. She no longer needs approval from her family to assert her worth. Amelia began to focus on studying, developing her career, and building her own life, the things she deserved to achieve. Amelia's actions are not only a story of personal struggle, but also a reminder for all of us. Sometimes, leaving toxic relationships is necessary to find true freedom. Amelia has chosen the right path, and she needs to continue moving forward with confidence and determination. 1 year after cutting ties with her family, Amelia looks back on her journey with gratitude and pride. Although the silence between her and her family remained, she felt relieved to no longer have to live in Lauren's shadow. Now, with income from renting Mr. Williams' inherited house and stability in her personal life, Amelia is not only financially free, but also finds peace of mind. She learned that her self-worth does not come from the approval of others, but from the ability to stand strong in the face of adversity and live true to her nature. Yet in her quiet moments, Amelia sometimes wonders if she and her family will one day be able to reconcile. She didn't expect an apology from Lauren or a complete change from her parents. Instead, she wants to be seen as an independent individual, not as a backup plan or someone to be taken advantage of. In American culture, setting boundaries and demanding respect is common and encouraged, but Amelia understands that such changes don't happen overnight. Amelia's story sends a powerful message. Sometimes, to find yourself, you must be willing to step out of relationships that have been a source of suffering. She chose the difficult but right path, a path that requires courage and determination. With every step forward, Amelia inspires those who are struggling with injustice in their families. The audience will root for Amelia to continue to maintain the boundaries she has established. If you're Amelia, be proud of what you've accomplished and continue to focus on your personal growth. Family is not necessarily blood, but people who truly love and respect you. Amelia is proving that freedom and dignity are the most precious assets, and she deserves both. With each passing day, Amelia feels more and more clearly the value of the freedom she has regained for herself. No longer under pressure to please her family or live in Lauren's shadow, she begins to build a completely new life where she is the main character in her story. Although her family's silence remains a dull ache, Amelia has learned to channel that pain into motivation to move forward. She spends her time focusing on studying, exploring her personal passions, and investing in her financial future. Amelia often thinks about the lessons her grandfather, William, taught her. Those afternoons of fishing and the stories he told are now sources of inspiration that help her maintain faith in herself. In American culture, standing on one's own feet and asserting personal values is a symbol of success, and Amelia is living up to those values. She no longer feels guilty about setting clear boundaries with her family because she understands that real love must come with respect. However, Amelia is not one to harbor hatred. Instead of resentment, she chose to forgive, not to reconcile, but to free herself from the burden of her past. By forgiving, she can move on without being haunted by old pain. Amelia is a role model for those who are struggling to regain freedom and dignity. In a society that values individual rights like America, her journey is proof that you can overcome injustice and build a future full of hope. Amelia should continue to expand her network of friends and find like-minded people to develop her career and life. Her journey is an inspiring story, but it also reminds us that true freedom begins when you accept that you are worthy of a better life. Go forward, Amelia, for your path ahead is filled with light.